Hi guys, welcome to this short little yoga flow. I'm calling this after work yoga, but really this is going to be great, well, anytime, but especially if you've been sitting for a long period of time, if you've been traveling, driving, sitting in an airplane. This is designed to help open up the chest, kind of reverse this action. It's going to help to stretch out the hips and the low back. It's just an all-around great little flow. So you might appreciate having a blanket and a couple of blocks. You may or may not use them, but I am a big fan of props, and I recommend grabbing something that you can use to support yourself. You don't have to have specific yoga blocks or anything. A couple of books would work just fine. Anything that can support your weight. So we're actually going to start laying down in a very simple but very awesome, in my humble opinion, restorative yoga pose. This is where the blanket is going to come in, and I'm going to give you an option if you find that this doesn't work for you. So I'm using a thin yoga blanket. You can use any blanket you want. And I'm folding it out like this. All right, so it's long, it's a long rectangle. So we're going to fold this into thirds. So take it by the ends, fold it once away from you, and then once towards you. So it's kind of like an accordion. You're going to lay this on your mat or on the floor. If you have one of these blankets, put the fringe edge towards the body. So sit at the end of the blanket. Depending on your low back, you may need to adjust this. You may prefer to be a little bit more on the blanket. You may prefer to be off the blanket completely. And again, like I said, I'll give you an option if you find that it's not working for you regardless. But you're going to lay down, try to kind of aim your spine for the center of the blanket. It doesn't have to be exactly center. Bring your feet up towards your hips. Lift your hips up a little and just kind of plop them forward. And then bring your hands to the blanket behind your neck. Behind your neck, not behind your head. Lift your head just a little bit, poof the blanket up, and lay back down. And you should just feel a little more support under your neck. You're not actually changing the shape or the direction of your head. If you need more support under your head, feel free to fold this up, make a little pillow. But otherwise, just get that nice little poof under your neck. Take a deep breath in and let it out through the mouth. And just let yourself settle in here. You can let your arms relax by your sides. For me, I like to kind of tuck my shoulder blades underneath a little bit so my palms can comfortably face up. You can keep your feet on the floor. You can stretch the legs out. Or you may like to kind of heel toe the feet out a little, pigeon toe your toes in, and then let your knees come together. This is actually a really nice release for the outer hips and for the low back, but only if it feels comfortable. If it doesn't feel comfortable, adjust. If you find that this pose, there's just no way it's working for you, you can move the blanket out from underneath the body and just roll it up a little bit under your neck so you have some extra support there. You can let your eyes close. You can keep the eyes open, but relax the gaze on a point in front of you. And settle into the rhythm of your breath. You don't have to change that rhythm. You don't have to fix the breath. Let it be natural and automatic, but just start to connect to the rhythm of it. If you think of the breath like waves, imagine you're kind of surfing those waves, rolling up and down. and just start to let places relax that can. Soften the space between the eyebrows. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. And let your spine really soften down onto the blanket. Let your legs be heavy, your arms heavy, the head heavy. And as you soften here, if it's comfortable, you can start to play with gently deepening the breath. If any tension comes into the body, into the face, into the shoulders, into the neck, soften the breath back down. But maybe at the top of your inhale, just see if you can sip in a little bit more air. Not in a forceful way. There's no magic number. There's no certain amount you should be breathing. If it's comfortable, maybe let your breath become a little bit more even, a little bit deeper, a little bit more full than your automatic, natural breath. We'll take a few more rounds of breath here, but just so you know, this is an awesome posture to come into at the end of the day, or anytime you need just a little release for your spine, for your chest, for your shoulders, for your neck. You can just practice this pose on its own. We may come back to it at the end of the practice. But it's a good tool to have in your tool bag. So let's take one more deep breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Very gently bring your feet back towards each other, back to the floor if they're elsewhere. Let the knees rock very gently side to side, just saying a little hello to your hips. And then keeping the neck very relaxed, roll gently over to one side. I'm rolling over to my left. You can follow that or not. Now just move the blanket out from behind you. Don't have to be too delicate about it. Place the bottom arm under your head for a little extra support. And then bend your top arm and bring it on the other, on top of your head. Take a moment to breathe here and to settle in. And then on your next inhale, let that top elbow open up and back behind you. So you come into a gentle little twist. Let the knees stay on top of each other. It doesn't matter where you get to. Take a moment to pause, check this out, make sure it's comfortable. If this doesn't work for you, you can always bring your hand to your hip, soften up the opening in the chest and the shoulders. Otherwise, you can keep the hands, maybe clasp them behind your head. And then on your next inhale, come back to center. So now we'll move with the breath. So, inhale. As you exhale, gently open up into that gentle twist. Inhale, come back to center. Maybe take your glasses off. Exhale, open. And inhale to center. Let's take two more. Follow your own breath. Last one. And then back to center. Pause for a moment. And then you can release the clasp of the hands. Again, try to keep the neck really soft and relaxed as much as possible. Then we'll roll onto our backs. Again, you can rock gently side to side. And then roll over to your other side. So again, I'm rolling over to my right side. Bottom arm goes under your head. Other arm on top. You can clasp the hands if you like. And now that you know where we're going, we'll take a few rounds with the breath and then pause. It's kind of opposite. So inhale. And as you exhale, top arm opens up and back behind you. Inhale to center. Nice and slow. There's no rush. Exhale, open. You can always adjust the pattern of the breath to suit what your body needs right now. If the inhale and exhale doesn't work, you can slow it down, take a whole round of breath in between. Whatever works for you. Now on this next time you twist open, pause for a moment. Let the breath move up and down the spine, and maybe since we're kind of focused on the upper body, imagine the breath really swirling through the chest, through the shoulders, through the armpits. Relax the head and the neck. Beautiful. And then on your next inhale, roll back onto your side. This time, bring that top hand to the floor in front of you. Again, let the head and the neck stay as relaxed as possible. Press yourself up off of the floor. Let the head be the last thing to lift. And we're going to transition to hands and knees. All right, so we're going to come into table pose on the hands and knees. Feel free, if your knees or your wrists need a little extra padding, to roll up your mat, or you can use the blanket. Otherwise, or when you have your props set up, plant your hands under your shoulders, bring your knees under your hips, spread your fingers wide, and press the floor away with the whole hand. So try to keep the weight evenly distributed between all the fingers, the whole palm. It's really easy to let the weight sink into the wrists, which, the wrists don't really appreciate. So let the whole hand do some work. And again, you can always roll up your mat just a little bit to place the heel of the hand on. That can help take away some of the pressure. So we're going to come into some simple cat-cow breaths. You can press down through the tops of the feet or curl the toes under. On your inhale, let the belly drop. Lift the shoulders, the hips, and the head, stretching the front of the body. And on your exhale, reverse the movement. Round the spine, tuck the tail, drop the head, stretching the back. Inhale, cow's breath. And exhale, cat's breath. Take a few more following your own breath. And feel free to play with it. Maybe you'd like to wag the tail. You can turn this into a spinal circle. Give yourself permission to play and do what feels good in your body. On your next inhale, come back to a neutral spine, or that place in the middle. Keep pressing down firmly with your hands. Knees can stay under the hips or even come together at this point. Now we want to engage the core so we can help build some core strength and stability, as well as protect the low back. So feel the low belly, instead of kind of hanging out, zip it up towards the ribs. Send your tailbone straight back behind you, so you don't want to tuck under. Just want to send that tail straight back. Feel the front of the ribs draw in a little bit. Again, we're not rounding, just draw them in. Spread open through the upper back. Take a deep breath in here, and as you exhale, shift the weight over to the left leg. Lift the right leg, keep the knee bent, and flex the foot. Continue to press evenly through the arms and keep that core engaged, and start to circle the right leg from the hip. Now, the slower and wider your circles, the more challenge there's going to be, so you can play with it. You can do smaller circles, quicker circles, or really widen it out. This is an amazing movement. Your hip joint loves you so much right now. Great movement for the hip joint itself to keep it strong and mobile, as well as helping to release tension around the hip and build strength through the arms and the core. Circle in the other direction. Keep the breath smooth and even. Keep reaching through both arms. It's tempting to sink into one. Beautiful. Now inhale and extend that leg back behind you. Bring the ball of the foot to the floor. And then circle the right leg out to the right side. Now stay where you are. I'm going to turn around so you can see a little bit better. Spin the toes forward, keeping the leg straight. You can bend the knee and open up the foot, or forget all of that and just bring the knee back underneath you. So whatever you choose, if the leg is out, really press down through the foot and drop that right hip down. Take a deep breath in, shift the weight into the right hand, sweep the left arm up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, reach towards your right toes. Don't lower all the way down yet. Inhale, sweep up, and exhale, reach through. Last time, inhale up, and then as you exhale, you can lower either onto the forearm with your elbow under your shoulder, or all the way down onto the shoulder. Continue to press this right hip down, pressing into the right foot. The left hand can stay on the floor. You can press the fingertips into the floor. You can reach the right arm up or around the back towards the left hip. You don't have to get anywhere near that hip, just so you know. But with each exhale, try to open up that right shoulder a little bit more. It doesn't have to actually go anywhere. Just continue to imagine that right shoulder opening away from the floor. This is a very easy pose to relax just into the pull of gravity. We really want to enjoy that twist. Great shoulder stretch as well. Thread the needle twist. Let's take one more breath here. And then inhale. If the arm is off of the floor, bring it back down. Exhale, press into that hand. Bring yourself up. Slide the right leg back behind you. Shake it out. You can come into another round or two of cat-cow breath. You can fix your shirt if you're on camera. And then we'll move to the other side. So again, set yourself up, hands under the shoulders. You can also move the hands slightly ahead, but keep them shoulder distance apart. Press firmly through the whole hand, through the whole arm. Soften your elbows. Zip up the low belly, send the tailbone back, draw the front ribs in. Open, expand through the upper back and through the chest. Legs can be hips distance apart or together. Inhale. Exhale, shift the weight over to the right leg. Lift the left, knee bent, foot flexed. From here, begin your circles. Again, slow or quick. Wide or shallow, whatever works for you here. Keep the breath steady. keep the neck long. Not looking in front of you, but look either right to the mat between your hands, or I like to actually look at the front edge of my mat. That helps me to keep my head lifted while the back of the neck stays long. Circle in the other direction. Maintain the engagement in your core. You can always smile. And then on your inhale, extend the left leg back, ball of the foot to the floor, and then circle the leg around to the left side. Now again, toes can spin forward. You can open up the knee. You can bring the knee underneath. It might be different on this side, so do what works now. Shifting the weight into the left hand. Inhale, right arm reaches up. Exhale, twist. Inhale, up. And exhale, twist. And on this last one, inhale up. And exhale. Again, you can lower onto the forearm, onto the shoulder. Do what works for you here. Most of us are not very symmetrical, so honor whatever the side you're working on needs. So once you kind of settle in, again, now left hand can stay on the floor, fingertips or flat. Maybe kick the thumb back to get off of the wrist. Can reach that arm up. Can reach it back behind you. Whatever you need. You can let your eyes close if you like. And again, let each breath open you into this twist. Not in a forceful way. Just notice on your exhale, do you have a little more space? Or not? Or not is always an option. Taking one more deep breath. And then on your next inhale, bring that left hand down if it's lifted. Exhale, press yourself up. Slide yourself back into table pose. Walk the hands forward a little bit. Shift the hips back, curl the toes under, and then lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So I'm not going to go too in-depth into the alignment of down dog. That'll be in a pose breakdown soon. But continue to press the floor away with the whole hand. Shift some weight back into the legs. Keep the knees nice and bent for now. Let the spine release. Let the body hang. Maybe shake out the head. Do yes and no. And then on your next inhale, look forward to your hands. And then walk or hop the feet forward. Pause for a moment in a forward fold. Again, let the knees be really soft here. You can let the arms hang. You may like to come into ragdoll, grabbing opposite elbows. Again, a nice release for the shoulders. Or if your neck needs a little extra love, clasp your hands at the base of the head, base of the skull. And you don't need to pull, just let gravity do the work. Nice, full, even breaths. And then release the arms. We'll take one horse breath here, in through the nose, out through the lips. Great way to release the face, the jaw, and also to not take yourself too seriously. Bend into your knees and then lift all the way up with a flat back. Reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands in front of your heart. You can keep them there or release the arms down. And just pause for a moment to notice how you feel. Check in with your breath. Where is your attention? Bring it back to the moment, to the breath, to your body if it's wandered. And then let your eyes open. All right, inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. As you exhale, bend the knees, sit the hips back as if you were sitting into a chair. Bring the palms together in front of your heart. Now, my legs are apart right now. Feet are hips distance. Look at your knees. Draw imaginary lines out from the center of your knees and make sure that those lines would forever and ever 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 stay parallel. If they would veer away from each other or come into meet, adjust your knees so that those lines would be parallel. Send weight into your heels, but continue to press down through the balls of the feet. You can lift your toes for a moment. Just make sure your toes aren't gripping to the mat. Soften them down or keep them lifted. Little squeeze on those glutes. Great way to keep the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, all nice and strong. So if you've been sitting a lot, these muscles can get tight and weak. So we'll take one more breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale, and then exhale, release forward, forward fold. Now here's where you may like your blocks. I have short arms, so I like to bring the floor to me. Bring your blocks or your hands to the floor. Shift the weight over to the left leg and step back with your right. Lower onto your right knee. You can fold the mat under if you need to. Make sure your left ankle is directly underneath your left knee. Again, toes soft. You're down under the big toe, the baby toe, and at the heel. Find a place where your spine can be long. Rather than hunching around, find a place where your spine can be long. So you can adjust the height of the blocks, move the hands around, see where you can find that long spine. As you breathe here, send your left hip back, press your right hip forward, and feel your legs hug in towards center as if they were hugging in towards each other. Obviously, they're not together, but have that feeling of hugging in. Now, you're welcome to just stay right here. This is a great stretch if you've been sitting a lot today or anytime. It helps to stretch the psoas muscle, which connects from the thigh up through the hip to the low back. And when we sit a lot or driving a lot, anything like that, that muscle can get really tight and short, and it can cause a lot of low back pain. So something like this can be a really helpful pose. If you'd like, bring your hands to your thigh and lift the chest. This is a little bit of a balancing pose, so you might feel a little wobbly. That's okay. Bring your hands to your hips. You can give yourself a little self-assist, pressing that right hip forward, left hip back. Send the tailbone down a little. You can keep the hands here. You can bring the hands to the low back. Or if it's comfortable, clasp the hands at the low back. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, hug the shoulder blades towards each other. If you have the clasped hands, you can draw the knuckles down, lift the chest, keep the tailbone lengthening down, the core lifting up, and you can come into as deep a back bend as you like. As we take a couple more breaths here, if you're feeling feisty, you can keep those back toes curled under and lift off of that back knee. Keep the back knee a little bent. Feel the knees squeeze in towards each other. And really breathe through the chest. Beautiful. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, gently release the hands back to your blocks. Step the front foot to meet, the back foot to meet the front. Pause for a moment, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. You can keep the hands on the blocks. Zip up your core. Exhale, release. Bend your knees. Inhale, sweep all the way up. And then exhale back into your chair pose, sitting the hips back. Knees, parallel lines. Rooting evenly through the feet. You can play with shifting the weight forward and back. A little squeeze on those glutes. Keep the chest lifted and tall. And we'll just breathe here for a moment. You can add a little pulse. Inhale to rise up a little. Exhale to sink deeper. Again, you can smile anytime. Beautiful. Inhale. And as you exhale, dive forward. Inhale, rise up, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees. Plant your hands on your blocks or on the floor. Step back with the left leg. Lower down onto that left knee. Right ankle directly underneath the knee. Right hip now moves back as the left hip presses forward. Hug the legs in. And pause here. Find that long spine. Space for your breath. Relax the shoulders. Soften the face. Maybe again another horse breath. Beautiful. On your next inhale, again, you can stay right here. This is a great stretch to just hang out in. But if you'd like, you can lift the chest. Bring the hands to the front thigh first for some more support. And then hands to hips. Or hands to low back. Or clasp the hands maybe in the awkward opposite way, just for fun. Inhale, draw the arms towards each other. Exhale, hug those shoulder blades back, lift the chest. Keep hugging the legs in. And then again, if you'd like, you can lift off of that back knee. Try to keep the weight even through the legs. Let both legs help out. Do some work here. Keep the core lifted, tailbone long, a little bit heavy. As the chest opens, imagine the inhale kind of ballooning forward into the chest. Will hopefully feel really nice. Very good. Inhale. As you exhale, release the hands, bring them back to the blocks, and then step forward once again, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. And then exhale, release down. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart or release them down. Close the eyes if it's comfortable. Pause for a moment. Notice how you feel. Notice the breath, sensations in the body. Thoughts might be on the mind. And see if you can notice all of that without judgment, without needing to fix or change, without needing to explain. Just notice. And then connect back to the breath, back to the moment. Let the eyes open. Shake it out. And I want to do one more standing posture. So we have done some kind of stretching of the hips and some opening of the chest this way, but I want to get the opposite. So we're going to come into eagle pose, and I'll give you a couple of different options depending on, well, frankly, how much work you feel like doing right now. So we'll start with the arms. So again, feet hips distance apart. Inhale, sweep your arms out. Kind of hug the shoulder blades towards each other. And then as you exhale, give yourself a big hug with the right arm over the left. Be aware of my mic here, so I might look a little awkward, and I apologize. So this is a great option for eagle pose if the full variation of the arms doesn't work for you. Just keep reaching the fingertips towards the spine. If you'd like to play with the eagle arms, draw the forearms towards each other. That might be fine. You might find you're able to wrap the arms around, lift the elbows up, drop the shoulders down, and draw the forearms away from the face. Keep breathing. Now you can stay right here. You can just enjoy this stretch. You can take a forward fold. You can play with movement. If you'd like to get the legs involved, coming into the full eagle pose, take a deep breath in. As you exhale, come back into your chair pose, sitting the hips back. Feel the legs engage the same way they did in chair. And then inhale. I'm going to go opposite. So as you exhale, shift the weight into the right leg. Come on to the toes of the left. You can just play right here, lifting the foot up. You can cross, left leg over right. And then if it's comfortable, you can wrap. Keep the chest lifted. Keep the elbows lifting, forearms away from the face. Keep breathing. Hug those legs in. So again, this is a great stretch for the low back. Really great strengthener, really great for all the joints. Stretch, of course, for the upper back as well. Let yourself fall out of it. Let yourself wiggle. Take a horse breath if you find you're taking it too seriously. Or, think, I'm pretending to be an eagle right now, so, let it be playful. Take one more breath here. And then inhale, unwind the legs, unwind the arms, and release the arms down by your side for a moment. Give them a roll, shake them out, shimmy for fun. And we'll move to the other side. So inhale, sweep the arms out. Exhale, give yourself a big hug with, right arm over left. Now, left arm over right. Whatever way feels weird. Again, can just stay here with the hug. Bring the forearms towards each other. Wrap. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, sit back into your chair. Inhale. Shift the weight over to the left leg now. Lift the toes of the right. Stay around. You can hang here. You can cross. You can wrap. Or not. Again, this might be quite a different pose one side to the other. So just notice that. Doesn't have to be better or worse. Ooh. Keep breathing. Notice if maybe you feel steadier on one side than the other. Again, elbows lift, forearms move away from the face. Breathe. Maybe fall over. Then you just come right back in. Very nice. Inhale. And as you exhale, gently release. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale. Arms come back down. Little shake. Little shimmy. You may like to roll through a couple of empty coat sleeves. And then just come back to center. Shake it out a little bit. Now, of course, you could just stop your practice here, but I do highly, highly, highly recommend having some time of integration, of relaxation. You're going to get more benefit from the work you just did if you give yourself this time to relax. So come on down to your mat or to the floor. Now, of course, you could take traditional Shavasana, arms and legs relaxed on the floor. You can lay on your side. You can lay on your belly. Just get into a posture that feels comfortable. If you would like, we'll come back to that gentle heart-opening pose we did in the beginning with another variation. So at the beginning, I led it with the knees coming in, feet apart. And we're going to do the opposite, which again, it's such a great stretch. Great release for the hips, for the low back. If this is a really good pose to practice regardless, whether you've done a practice or not. Just to, again, undo the stress of sitting for hours and hours at a time, for driving a lot. So, same thing. Sit at the end. We're going to set up the legs first. So you're going to bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees open out to the sides, and place a block or rolled blankets, cushions, again, stacked books, whatever, underneath the knees. Even if your knees go all the way to the floor, even if you don't usually practice with props, you will actually get a much more thorough release if the body is supported. Think of, if you're going to speak your mind, speak your heart in a relationship, if you're going to open up, you need to feel safe. You need to feel supported. Body's the same thing. So this way, you may feel more of an active stretch, but the body has to kind of fight against gravity to a certain extent. So if you place props, support under the knees, the body can relax even more, which might feel a little counterintuitive, but it's true. So same thing, we're going to lay on the blanket, lift the head, poof the blanket up under the neck. Situate the arms, make any little adjustments you need. Again, let the eyes close if that's comfortable. Keep the eyes open, but let the eyes relax. Whatever works best for your body. Settle back into the rhythm of your breath. And now start to imagine each exhale and of letting a layer of effort or tension or holding release from the body. Let it soften away. You may find it more relaxing, more grounding to maintain that deep, full breath we began at the beginning of this practice. Or you may find it more relaxing to let the breath go. Let it soften. But I do invite you to let your attention keep coming back to the breath if it wanders. Respect this time you're taking for yourself, for your health, for your sanity. It's nothing to feel guilty about. In fact, you'll be able to give much more of yourself in a much healthier way, in a much better way, if you are taken care of. It's kind of like filling our own gas tanks. A car can only run for so long on empty. And same for us. We are not doing anyone any favors by ignoring our self-care, especially if we ourselves are caretakers. So I invite you to stay here for as long as you can, as long as you want. You can pause this video here, and then when you're ready to release, you can play it up again or not. And when you're ready, just give the fingers and toes a little wiggle. Circle the wrists, point and flex the feet. Even as you start to move, try to let the body stay as relaxed as you can. Engage the inner thighs and just gently bring the knees back in together. Give them a little rock side to side. And then roll all the way over to one side again. Keep the neck as soft as you can. Place the top hand on the floor. Use your arms to slowly press yourself up. Let the head be the last thing to lift. Pause in a comfortable seat. Maybe bring the hands together in front of the heart. And just notice how you feel. See if you can think back to how you felt when you first started this practice. Notice what might feel different. What might feel the same. And regardless of what that is, thank and honor yourself for taking this time, for making this time for yourself, because that's the only way we're going to get it. Thank and honor this commitment you made and kept to your well-being. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, requests, please leave them down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.